back in the day, I used to want to go to a club or go grab a drink or something. But now, unfortunately, I've had so many mishaps in comedy that I don't even try to be outside like that. I just be home.
What you mean mishaps?
People wild in comedy. They just wild. I want to say something. I want to address something.
New York.
I'm gonna say
She want to address all this.
I want to address this. So I should be in a position where I can hang out with my friends and my counterparts and have a good time and have a drink and feel safe. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen for a lot of women. I don't want to say this person's name, but y'all know him. And I have to get the story straight because, ladies, when you go out and you have fun, like, let me say this. If I go out with you and I have drinks with you and I'm having a good time with you and you're a male, I don't do it often, but if I do and something happens, I'm cool with that. I know what I'm doing. I'm grown. I wasn't always like that, but I had to learn to get like that because you can't trust people. So I just want to say this to set the record straight. I'm not going to say your name.
Camera one is your camera.
I had a show, I want to say it was in Temecula years ago, probably about 7, 8 years ago. And I don't want to say the other comedians that was on the show, but we did a show. And the promoter says, I got everybody rooms to spend the night. I said, cool. So then we go downstairs to this lounge and the promoter has a section for us, bottles, we all drinking, we all having a good time. And then little but surely, some of the comedians and their partners started saying inappropriate things to me. And I was like, I'm gonna stop drinking right now because I don't want to be under the influence and get myself into something.
Right.
Because I know how I am when I'm under the influence. After a certain amount of alcohol, I'm still moving, I'm on autopilot, but my mind is gone. So I said to one comedian, I said, well, you're not drinking like that. He was like, no. I said, well, do me a favor. I've been drinking. I feel it coming in. I'm going to stop. But just make sure I get back to my hotel room safe. Just make sure. He said, what room are you in? I told him what room I was in. He said, okay, I got you. That's right next to my room. I said, just make sure I get back to my room safe. He said, cool. I'm drinking water. I still remember, in and out, I'm having a good time. We dance. We all get on the elevator. One of the couples tried to take me with them. And I said, well, no, I'm going with this one right here. Because I told him, just make sure I'm safe, make sure I get back to my room. I'm out by then. I'm gone. Like, I don't even remember nothing after that. I wake up in his bed.
Oh, wow.
Pissed off. I woke up, I see him, I start crying. And I'm screaming no. And he's like, what's wrong? And I was like, did we do anything last night? My top is on, my bottom is gone, right? This is just a moment of vulnerability for everybody, just especially for the female comics. And I said, did we do anything? And he goes, yeah. I start crying. I run out the room. I ain't even got no pants on. I just got everything in my hand. I'm sure they saw ass on the camera. But I go next door and I'm sitting on my bed and I'm crying because I would never entertain you. If you see the dudes that I'm interested in, you would never even fall into the category of it. And what bothered me most is there was never an apology. There was never any accountability. And then you went around and told people that we did something as if that was something that I, in a sense, agreed to or gave you permission to do. I was under the influence. I asked you specifically to make sure that I got back to my hotel room and you did, and you took me to yours. And I'm just tired of the narrative that's going around. And I didn't want to say this way in hopes that at some point this person will be accountable, but they're not. They're just running around like, oh yeah, me and Tacarra. And I'm like, no. I don't want to say you to me. That's a very harsh and pushed narrative. And I have to take accountability for the fact that I was drinking. I'm a very accountable person, but you did take advantage of me under the influence, especially when I trusted you and I asked you to just make sure I was safe. And you wasn't even drinking like that. So that's one of the stories in comedy that I have that also pushed me to a space where I'm just like, I don't really mess with nobody. You see me out sometimes, I might have some champagne, I'll take a glass of Prosecco. I don't trust people like that. And, and you could be my closest friend, we could be cool, but I'll be backed away from everybody now because you got to be careful.
I did want to ask.
Yeah, I be having serious moments on podcasts that go viral.
No, that's fine. No,
you know what I'm saying?
No, seriously. I'm glad you talked about that because I did want to ask you. One of my questions was, what's some tips that you can give a female comedian that's traveling on the road, or things that they should watch out for?
Watch out from drinks from random people. Sometimes people will buy you a drink and send it to the stage. I don't take that. Be careful with who you go on the road with. That's very, very important to me. People hit me up all the time. Like right now, Mika J can't go on the road with me. She got some stuff going on. So I said, okay. And I get so many men like, can I go? First of all, I don't want to be on the road with a man. Especially if I don't know you.
Right.
I have to actually know you, trust you. with you heavy because then I know that you have my best interest at heart. That's really important to me. And another one would be book your own hotel. Don't stay in hotels that are connected to the venues. I did that once and I came from the second show, some dude at my door with flowers. How you even notice my door? So don't stay in venues, in hotels that's like Jacksonville.
First of all, that
hotel is...
And they know exactly what room because it's that one on the far side by the stairs.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to stay upstairs and downstairs.
Yeah.
Baltimore like that too.
Yeah.
The comedy club is in the hotel.
I've always stayed downtown. I've never stayed in Baltimore where the club is.
Yeah.
But that's in my contract though.
Yeah.
Because I'm a woman. People crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's like I was staying in a hotel in Charleston. I don't know if where I told the story at. This dude. So first of all, there's somebody pretending to be me. And they're taking money from people. They're sending them money to get their hair done, their nails done, paying rent, paying bills. And it's really dangerous for me because these men come to my shows thinking they've been talking to me.
Uh-huh.
So I'm at a show in Charleston and it's this guy sitting at the bar. He just keeps staring at me. So the meet and greet is over. I said, hey, do you want to meet? Do you want to take a picture? And he's like, you don't know me? I was like, no. And he was like, you really don't know me? And I saw he was serious. I said, no, I don't know you. And he says,
get the mic a little closer.
Oh, and he says, but I've been talking to you. And I was like, well, you haven't been talking to me.
Not me.
So he brings up this phone and he goes, this is not you? I was like, that's my picture, but that's not me talking to you. He's like, this is not your number. I said, that's not my number. He says, but I've been talking to you for like 3 months. I'm like, you haven't been talking to me. He got tears in his eyes.
Wow.
He's like, because I came to the show tonight because, we talked about getting married. I got a ring. He had a ring.
Wow.
He was like, I'm going to propose to you at the show. I said, let me ask you a question. I don't want you to feel, small here, but have you ever talked to this person on the phone? He said, no. I said, you ever FaceTime? Have you ever heard their voice? He said, no. I said, ugh.
Right.
That's not me. Crazy thing is, there's another dude standing there. He was like, damn, I knew it wasn't you.
Oh.
Made this even worse was, I go on to do the second show, and he's sitting at the bar talking to Mika J. And Mika J was like, oh, that's not the car. He said, it's crazy because I know you're staying at this hotel, and I talked to them at the front, and they gave me your room, so you staying in this room. He had our room number. Now, thankfully, I didn't like the room, and I had to move me to a cottage in the back, but he had our exact room number.
Sheesh.
And I'm like, how did you get my room number? He didn't know that it was, because Mika J was like, oh, no, we don't stay there. We don't stay, like, that's too close to the venue. We don't stay. He was like, oh, well, somebody told me that you guys were staying there. She was like, no, we don't stay there. But we were staying there. And she was like, but anyway, how did you get the room number anyway? He was like, well, I came in and I told them that, we were in a relationship and I was getting ready to propose to you and I wanted to send flowers to your room. And so they gave me your room number.
This just turned into a true crime podcast.
Right. God.
It's very valid because just hearing you talk about these things.
I'm not the only one.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it took me, it's been 7 years since that incident in Temecula. It took me 7 years, 8 years to say something because, oftentimes when women say stuff, we get viewed a certain way. And it's like, well, you should have been careful. Well, you should have been, and all those things, two things can be right at the same time.
Right.
So every time I have an opportunity or a platform to speak these things out loud, I've heard other women go through stuff like this and they just sit back and be quiet about it. And I'm in a position to where if I have the opportunity to speak it out loud, I am. So I do. And it's unfortunate, but a lot of women in comedy have had these experiences. And that's when we talk about women on stage, whether you're pretty or not. If a man is attracted to you and they want you for whatever, for whatever pleasure they feel they want you for, they're going to hope that you don't do well. Because if you don't, then you're in your feelings, you're emotional. You're going to get off stage, they're going to have a drink waiting for you. Ooh. You're already down and out. You're going to try to drink your problems away. And before you know it, you're waking up with them. No recollection to it. And you feel so guilty about it that you don't say anything.
Wow. Sheesh. Yeah, baby.
So, I didn't feel guilty. I was like, man, nigga, I'm going to say your name. No, I'm not going to say